Croeso pawb to the Hot Deals PSN sale. Now, why they decided to release another sale directly in line with the Black Friday sale, I don't really understand. Usually they have multiples, but they all classed as one and they all have the same list of games. That's very weird to me, but I'm not here to ask why. I'm just here to do or die. And if you get that reference, you're pretty educated. Anyway, I've gone through the sale and I've found some really cool games for you to play, and you can even save a lot of money buying them as well. So if you like finding some cool new games to play and saving a lot of money along the way, then you're at the right place. Don't forget to subscribe. You're welcome here anytime. Now, this sale ends on the 2nd of December, the same day as the Black Friday sales, because people aren't going to overlook this at all because of that, are they? So that'll be the last day to pick up these deals. Let's look at the games. First up is Amnesia the Collection. It was released in 2016, so it's 8 years old, and it's on a 90% discount for the low price of £2.39. Now, it has been cheaper, but that was like 3 years ago, so we'll take what we're given. This is a really good price. Don't question it, you hear me? And this collection includes 3 full games: Amnesia the Dark Descent, Amnesia A Machine for Pigs, and Amnesia Justine. So you're getting 3 full games for one low price, which is a phenomenal deal, especially if you like this sort of thing. These are all survival horrors, and in the first game you play as Daniel, waking with amnesia in a desolate and eerie castle. You must escape while piecing together your troubled memories. In the sequel, a wealthy industrialist, Oswald, wakes racked with fever, knowing he must save his children, but he doesn't know why or where he is. I recorded that line really weirdly. So that's the second game anyway. And finally, in the third game, where you're haunted by hellish dreams, a demented mind has constructed a series of trials for Justine to survive. Will you save yourself, or help others instead? Now, these games are pretty legendary. They're pretty big in the survival horror genre, and back in the day people loved them. And the fact that you can pick up all 3 of them now for this low price is a really good deal. If you're a big fan of survival horror games and you never played these, or maybe you've never heard of them, then definitely take a look at them at least. At this price, you're not wasting a lot of money, and you're getting 3 really good games for that price. So if this is your sort of thing, especially the really sort of mind game horror sort of thing, you'll probably love these games. So why not check them out if you like the sound of them? And hey, if you've never played a survival horror game before, then you could definitely start here. You're getting 3 really good games for a lower price than 1 game normally, so you can't complain really. If you like this sort of genre, check them out definitely, and only pick them up if you're really not into them for some reason, or you just don't like survival horror games in general, in which case, move on to the next game instead. Our next game is Below. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 85% discount for the low price of £2.99, which is really cool for a nice little indie game. In this action-adventure, you get to explore a vast underworld of ever-shifting labyrinths, where deadly monstrosities, cunning traps, and a shadowy presence lurk in every passage. It features a hardcore survival mode, and crafting of remedies and tools to help you in your adventure. Now, this is one of those indie games that got really good reviews, and everybody that plays it seems to love it. And I do quite like the art style as well. I think it's really effective, and it looks kinda cool. So if you're into action-adventure games, and especially cool little indie games, then why not check this out? I think there's a lot of heart to this game, and people that play it will really enjoy it, especially if you love action-adventures. And if that's you, take a look at this. You'll probably love it. And hey, if you've never played an action-adventure game before, then you could definitely start here. It's a really good quality game for a low price. Although for a bit more you probably could pick up some AAA ones when they're on sale as well. Although there's not a lot of AAA ones in this sort of genre. It's more of an indie sort of genre these days. But hey, if you're not that interested in this one, I'm sure you'll have a few more options in future videos as well. Next up is a roguelike, City of Brass. It was released in 2018, so it's 6 years old, and it's on at least an 80% discount for the price of £3.19 or £1.59 with PS Plus, which is a pretty decent deal. In this game, as a daring thief, you summon the fabled City of Brass from the depths of the desert, and with your trusty scimitar and whip, can you make it to the centre of the metropolis or die trying as your time runs out? Now, this was a pretty big deal when it came out. It's not like a huge, massively known game, but in the indie scene and the gaming Twitch, YouTube sort of scene, it was played quite a lot by people, and they really liked it. It got really good reviews, and the people that did buy it really loved it. And it's also quite interesting to see a roguelike that's first person. That's really different, and I kinda like the weapons in this, where you have a whip and a sword. You can tell that the developers wanted to do something a bit different, but really cool as well. So if you're into roguelikes and you want to try a first person one with some interesting weaponry and combat, then why not take a look at this? It's an indie game, but it's a really cool one, so definitely check it out if you like the sound of it. And hey, if you've never played a roguelike before, then you could definitely start here. I wouldn't say it's typical of the genre because it's first person, but hey, it is a good game, and it's got some interesting ideas. So if you're intrigued by it, or you always wanted to try a roguelike, then why not pick this one up if you like the look of it? But if not, there's a ton of roguelikes around these days, so you'll have a load of options in future videos as well. Carnarium is our next game. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £3.99, which is pretty good. In this puzzle horror game, you wake in a deserted Antarctic base, surrounded by pulsating noises and lights, feeling something is terribly wrong. Now you must explore the base, your dreams, and visions while avoiding macabre beings to unlock the base's mysteries and work out what's going on. Now, you know horror's not my thing, but I do like puzzle games, and that's probably why this game intrigues me. It's a horror game with a puzzle aspect as well to it. And I know a lot of games that are horror games have puzzles as well, but this seems more like a 50-50 split. And in any case, it's got really good reviews, and it looks really interesting to me. So if you're into puzzle games as much as I am and you love the horror genre, then why not check this out? It may not be for everyone, but it is a bit different, and I think people that like these two genres will probably enjoy this game. So take a look at it if you like the sound of it, and then if it intrigues you, then why not pick it up? And hey, if you never played a puzzle horror before, then you could start here, but at the price it's going for, you have a lot of options in the horror genre, and a lot of them have puzzle content as well. So if you're not particularly interested in this one, or you just don't fancy it in general, don't worry, you'll have plenty more options for this genre, or just completely different genres as well, in future videos. Up next is my star by Data Live Rio Reincarnation. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £4.99, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal, especially for an anime game. They're usually pretty pricey, especially visual novels as well. Now, this game includes 3 light novels and the 2 previous games as well, so you're getting 3 complete visual novel games, plus the 3 light novels they're based on as well. So that's a huge amount of content, so that's a really good deal at this price, and it's got really great reviews as well. In this visual novel, 30 years after entities known as spirits cause a series of deadly space quakes, a student discovers that he has the ability to seal away their powers with his love. It features 11 characters, over 150 dating events, and multiple endings as well. Now, I am laughing, and this isn't exactly my genre of gaming either, but hey, you gotta love the story in these games. They put a lot of effort into these visual novels. They're pretty off the wall and quirky, but I think that's the charm of them. I think if you're into this genre, then the quirkiness and the weird stories are all part of the charm and the reason you love them so much. So if you're a bit of a weeb or you just like visual novels in general, then why not check this out? You're getting 3 full games and light novels included as well. That's a ridiculous amount of content. I had my doubts about putting it a star by, but it just has a lot of content, and people that like this genre will love this game, I think. Either way, if you're into this, why not check it out? It looks like a really good deal for me, and hey, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But like I said, it's my star buy. It's well worth your time and money, I think. Probably. Definitely verify what I'm saying this time. Nah, check it out. I think it's a good deal, and people that like this stuff will really enjoy it. So if that's you, don't miss this one this time. And hey, if you've never played a visual novel before, then you could definitely start here. Normally when you get a lot of content for your money, it puts me off recommending it for newbies of the genre. But hey, like I said, they're normally pretty expensive, and not only are you getting 3 games here, you're getting the light novels as well. You might not like the games, but maybe you'll like the light novels instead. Who knows? In any case, if you've seen these visual novels around, or you've seen me cover them in the past, and you've always been interested, then why not take a look at this? You never know, you might find your new favourite gaming genre. Who knew, right? We have a JRPG next, Dragon Star Varna. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £4.99, which is pretty good. Most JRPGs are pretty pricey, and this one's a pretty good deal. This game is set in a world where witches are cursed to give birth to dragons, and you play as a witch hunter who becomes entwined with a group of witches and must team up to fight giant dragons, witches, an evil empire, and the witch hunters you served as well. Which sounds pretty cool and exciting, although I kind of feel that's the thing with JRPGs. That's one thing Japan does, really cool ideas. Either way, if you're a fan of JRPGs, you will have a metric ton of choices. That genre is huge, and they regularly release sequels and new series as well. So you have massive amounts to choose from. But hey, I covered this one because it's on a good sale, and it sounds interesting to me. Plus it reviewed really well, so if you're looking for something a bit different and you're a fan of JRPGs, or you just like dragons as well, you might be into it because of that, then why not check out this fantasy JRPG? It's a bit off the wall, but it looks pretty cool and different, so why not check it out if you like the sound of it? And hey, if you never played a JRPG before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here, because you can pick up some massive AAA ones from Legendary series cheaper than this on sale, and they're usually on sale pretty regularly as well. So don't worry about it. If you want to start somewhere cooler, keep up with the videos and you won't miss out, and you won't have to wait long either, because they're on sale pretty much all of the time. Earthstone is our next game. It was released in 2016, so it's 8 years old, and it's on at least a 91% discount for the price of £1.43 or 63p with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really great deal if you're into cool little indie games. This is a 2D action game set in the midst of an alien invasion where you get to become a superhuman soldier powered by alien technology and join your brethren to reclaim Earth from the invading menace. It features RPG elements and in-depth weapon and equipment customization, which is pretty cool. Now, this game is reviewed really well and it's really cheap. I do have a little bit of reservation, but that's because I'm not into the art style. It kinda looks like a Flash game to me, and that puts me off a little bit. But hey, art styles are subjective, so if you're okay with it, then why not check this out? It looks like a cool little 2D action game that's really well reviewed for a really cheap price. If you're into this sort of 2D action game, you can't go far wrong really. It looks like a really cool deal, so why not check it out if you like the look of it? And hey, if you've never played a 2D action game before, then you could definitely start here. It's a really cheap game and it's reviewed really well, so you can't really go far wrong. If you're interested, check it out. But if not, you do have a lot of options in this genre, they just won't all be as cheap as this one. Fairy Fencer F Reframe Chord is our next game. It was released in 2023, so it's only 1 year old, and it's on a 75% discount for the price of £11.24, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really good deal considering this game's original price and how expensive Japanese games normally are. Now, this is another game where the PS4 and PS5 versions are separate and there is no upgrade. I'm pretty sure that's the case. I tried to find confirmation, but at least the way the store thinks, there's no upgrade. Or you at least don't get both for one price. So just to be sure, if you want one in particular, make sure you get the right version, because I'm pretty sure there's no upgrade at all. In this strategy RPG, you get to become a fencer, with the ability to wield a weapon imbued with fury. Together with a couple of magical muses, you journey to find the Furies and resurrect an ancient goddess, and it features a new strategy system with multiple story routes as well, so it keeps it interesting if you play it multiple times. Now, there may be a ton of JRPGs around, but as far as strategy RPGs go, there's not that many of them around. The famous one is the Final Fantasy Tactics, which there was a couple of games of, and was quite popular recently because I think it was a phone game or something. Either way, that sort of game, there's not that many options, but this is one of them, and it's at a pretty good deal as far as Japanese game pricing goes anyway. So if you're a fan of Japanese anime games, and you like the strategy ones, and you've played Final Fantasy Tactics, or that sort of game in the past, definitely check this out. You might not have known it exists, and you might really enjoy it as well, especially if you like that genre. And hey, if you've never played a strategy RPG before, then you could start here. It's a bit pricey than most games on sale, but you don't have a lot of choice, and Final Fantasy Tactics isn't on sale that often, so this is an option, and it's probably one of your only ones. So if you like the look of it and you've never heard of it, why not take a chance on it? We have an adventure game next, Far Lone Sails. It was released in 2019, so it's 5 years old, and it's on at least an 80% discount for the price of £2.39 or £1.79 with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it for PS Plus members only. In this game, you get to drive a unique vehicle across a dried-out ocean, discovering a long-dead civilization lost to the sands of time. Can you maintain your vehicle and reach the end of your journey? It features vehicle upgrades and maintenance as well, to keep it interesting. Now, this game really intrigues me. My gut feeling says it's a really good game, and when I looked into it a bit more, it kinda looks like I'm right. It's got massively positive reviews, and everybody that plays it seems to really love it. For such a small indie game, it seems to have done really well, and is really popular, plus the story seems interesting, and it's got great aesthetics, and a cool art style as well. So if you're into cool little indie games and you want something a bit different, this looks like a really good quality game, and a really well liked one as well. So if you're as intrigued as I am, why not check it out? It might just be the coolest game you've played in ages. And hey, if you haven't played an adventure game before, then you could definitely start here. It's pretty cheap and it looks like a really cool and interesting game that's really well reviewed. So unless you want to wait for a bigger AAA adventure, or something a bit more complicated or a different gameplay style, then you should definitely check this out. But if you're not too sure, don't worry, you'll have plenty more options in future videos. We have a fishing game next. Fishing Sim World Bass Pro Shops Edition. It was released in 2020, so it's 4 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £6.59, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal considering how much content's included. as this edition includes over 800 Bass Pro Shops equipment, 3 boats, Johnny Morris rods and reels, and a Bass Pro Shops baits, lures, and lines as well. So again, a huge amount of extra content included, which is pretty cool if you like the idea of that. This fishing sim features over 18 species of fish to catch, with more than 200 boss fish, 8 US fishing locations, a career mode where you get to work up to being an elite angler, and a custom 4-player online multiplayer as well. So if you've got friends that like fishing, you can play with them as well, which is pretty cool. I'm sure it's pretty relaxing for a group of friends to hang out in. Now, in general, there's not a lot of things to say about fishing games. Back in the day, there was a niche genre where they were really big, especially the Sega games. They were really popular, especially with the gimmick controls you could get on the Wii and stuff. They were quite a thing for a while anyway. These days, there doesn't seem to be a huge franchise anymore, but there is quite a few medium to indie franchises around, and they all seem to do pretty well. None of them seem to be massive industry leading or well known. So in general, you have a few options, but this looks like one of the better ones. Usually a lot of them have a lot of DLC that you gotta buy in bits and bobs, and this does have DLC as well, but at least it has an edition that includes a lot of stuff as well, which is pretty cool. Just be aware there is a free-to-play fishing game as well, if you're really desperate and you don't want to spend any money. But hey, if you want a proper game, then this one looks like a pretty good deal. So if you're into fishing and you like the stuff that's included with this game, why not check it out? It looks like a pretty good game for the money. And hey, if you've never played a fishing sim before, then you could start here. You've only got a few options these days, and they're all about the same price on sale. So if you like the look of this one, go for it. But if not, you will have a couple of options in other videos as well. We have a VR game next, Psychonauts in the Rhombus of Ruin. It was released in 2017, so it's 6 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.9p, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal for a game of such cool franchise. Now, there's no move controller support for this, but from my understanding it's a pretty short game, so even though it's disappointing, ultimately I don't think it'll make too much of a difference. In this VR adventure that continues on from the original 2005 game, as the rescue party are kidnapped and Raz is immobilized, forcing him to use his psychic powers to reunite his friends and reveal the identity of their kidnapper along the way. Now, from what I've read about this game, it's really cool if you're into Psychonauts. If you're a fan of the series, then this is a great little VR experience and you'll have a lot of fun with it. But if you're not into Psychonauts, then it's not really worth picking up because it's quite a short game and it's more like an experience than anything else, as it was an early launch title for the first PSVR 1, so there's not a lot of content to it, but it is good quality content that's really cool for fans of the series. So if you're a fan of Psychonauts and you've got a PSVR 1, then why not take a look at this? It may be a niche little game, an experience, but hey, it's a really fun one for the right people. And if that's you, why not take a look at it? You'll have a great time if you like this franchise. And hey, if you've never played a VR adventure game before, then I wouldn't recommend starting here. Like I said, it's pretty short, and it's not really a full game, and it's pretty niche as well. If you're not into Psychonauts, I wouldn't recommend it. But there is a load of really cool VR adventures around, and they get pretty cheap as well. So don't worry, you'll have plenty of options in future videos. So don't forget to come back, and then you won't miss them when they're on sale next. Oh look, another VR game, Shadowpoint. It was released in 2022, so it's only 2 years old, and it's on at least a 90% discount for the price of £1.59 or 79p with PS Plus, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a really cool deal for a cool looking VR game. This game requires move controllers, which is really cool because it's better with them, so it's good that it enforces it. In this puzzle adventure, you get to play a game narrated by Sir Patrick Stewart, yep, Jean-Luc Picard himself, as you embark on an adventure to another realm, investigating the mysterious disappearance of a schoolgirl at an abandoned observatory. It features over 80 puzzles and a full voice cast as well, so not only do you have a lot of really cool puzzle content in VR, but it's also got really good high production values as well, which is really cool. I'm dying to pick this up myself, but the problem is, since I got rid of PS Plus, I refuse to buy a game if it's cheaper on Plus, so until I see it 79p without Plus, I ain't picking this up. I've got plenty more other VR games to play in the meantime, and I love VR puzzle games, especially ones with a bit of story and adventure. So if you've got a PSVR 1 and you like puzzle adventure games, why not check this one out? For this price, you can't go far wrong for a game of this quality. And hey, if you've never played a VR puzzle adventure before, then you could definitely start here. It's a good quality game. It may not be one of the biggest, most well-known ones, but at this price, you can't complain too much. You're getting good quality for this money. So if you've got a PSVR 1 and you're tempted, or you always wanted to try a puzzle adventure, then why not take a look at this game? It might just be the best VR game you've played in ages. We have a PS5 game next, Toem. It was released in 2021, so it's 3 years old, and is on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good deal for a cool little indie game. Now this game is only on PS5, so you'll never be able to pick it up unless you've got a PS5. In this adventure game, you set off on a delightful expedition as you travel around a hand-drawn world, collecting photos of the unique vistas and creatures in each area, while interacting with the quirky locals to help them solve their problems and complete some quests for them. Now, I've completed this game, and I really enjoyed it. I got it back when I had Plus ages ago for free, and I probably wouldn't have looked through it apart from that. But when I had it for free, it piqued my interest, and I installed it one night, and I pretty much completed it in a night and a morning, and I gotta say I really enjoyed it. It's not the most AAA or biggest of adventure games, but it's really cute and charming, and it was a lot of fun to play. I won't say it was a really amazing game that I'll remember forever, but it had a really cool little niche. At the prices on sale for, if you like quirky little adventure games, then you'll probably enjoy this one. It's pretty chill and relaxed, but it's also pretty fun. It's a bit different and unique with the camera mechanics, and overall I enjoyed the game a lot, more than I would have expected, that's for sure. And hey, if you've never played an adventure game before, then I'm not sure I'd recommend starting here. It's very different and unique and quirky, so if that's your thing, then you could start here. It's not that expensive and it's pretty modern, but if it's not your thing, you've got a lot of options in this genre and a wide variety of quality and gameplay differences. So you've got tons of options, plenty more to choose from if this isn't the one you're looking for. And the final game I have for you is Willie Morgan and the Curse of Bone Town, which is an hilarious title that can't be an accident for sure. It was released in 2022, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for the price of £3.19, which is the cheapest I've ever seen it, and a pretty good price for a modern point-and-click game. This game is set 10 years after his famous archaeological father vanished, and young Willie receives a letter from him stating that something has gone wrong and leaves instructions for him to finish what his father started, and along with a final warning to trust nobody. Now, point-and-clicks seem to be having a bit of a revival. Years ago they were really popular because of the technology limitations, but these days they're kind of like a retro gaming style. But hey, they're really popular, and they can be a lot of fun. Usually the logic in them can be a bit obtuse and confusing sometimes, so that does put some people off. If you're a fan of puzzle games but you haven't played a point-and-click adventure before, then I'm not sure if I'd recommend them. Some of them are really good and some of them can be quite frustrating in parts. But either way, they're different and unique. So if you're a fan of puzzles, you'll probably like some of them at least. Either way, if you're a fan of puzzle adventures and you're not put off by the point-and-click style of gameplay, then you'll probably really enjoy this one. It's quite a modern game and it looks really cool, interesting, and a good quality game in general. Plus it's got great reviews as well. So if you're looking for a modern point-and-click, why not check this out? It looks like a good quality game for a pretty good price. And hey, if you've never played a point-and-click adventure before, then you could start here. You can get other ones cheaper than this, but they're older ones or they're remakes. This is actually a modern one, and you get benefits with that in the graphic style and the amount of production values put into it. So you don't have to start with this one. If you really like the look of it and you want a more modern one, then go for it. But if not, you'll have plenty more options that are even cheaper than this as well. And if you'd rather have one of them, then keep up with the videos, and you won't miss them when they come on sale next. And that's all the games I have for the Hot Deals PSN sale. I'd be surprised if anyone noticed this sale exists because, Black Friday, buzzword, the hype, usually the rip-off prices, but it doesn't seem to be so bad this time. It's at least as good as they are normally, so, not too many complaints this time. Here's a bit of advice though, if you like picking up stuff in Black Friday sales, usually, especially for tech and stuff like laptops and computers, it's kind of like false advertising. You're much better off buying stuff at the end of summer or like January when they're clearing all the stuff they didn't sell in Black Friday, Christmas, or when they're clearing all the stuff from the summer. Basically when there's stock changing for the next season. That's just a little tip if you want to pick up stuff like that. You can pick up some really cheap laptops and stuff like that in those time periods if you keep an eye out. Anyway, what did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones or did I pick bad ones? And what about the start buy? Did they deserve it, or should some other game have got it instead? Leave all your comments below and we can talk about it later. Anyway, I hope you guys found some cool games to play, but more importantly I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Au revoir.